Hey, welcome back to How to Barbecue Right. I'm Malcolm Reed. Today I'm going to show you how I make Gringo Carne Asada. I've got this marbled up piece of skirt steak that I'm going to get in a fresh marinade for a couple hours. Then I'm going to fire my Weber grill up with some good hot coal, sear it hot and fast. While it rests, I'm going to do some vegetables on a little cast iron skillet. We're going to build some tacos. You know dinner's going to be good here tonight. Let's get to cooking. So for this carne asada, I'm using skirt steak. You could also use flank steak or pretty much any thin, lean cut of beef. I like the skirt steak because it is tender as long as you cut it across the grain and you don't overcook it. You want to cook this rare to medium rare and no more, or it can get tough and chewy. It's an inexpensive cut of meat. I picked this one up down at the butcher shop in Pensacola when I was down there, and I just had it in the freezer for a while. I thawed it out overnight. Now it's ready to marinate. For the marinade, I started with some fresh lime juice and fresh orange juice, a little bit of water, a little bit of vinegar, and a little bit of canola oil just to give us some volume to it. Some fresh garlic, some fresh jalapeno, and a couple tablespoons of my Grande Gringo. You could put any kind of Mexican seasoning that you want in this marinade. You just want to get some of those Southwestern style flavors in it. For the beef, I didn't trim it much. It was already like this when I got it. You can see both sides, and you can see which way the grain's going, so that's going to make it easy to cut once we get it cooked. So I'm just dropping it down in this Ziploc bag, and we're going to pour the marinade right over the top. This is the easiest way to marinate it. You could put it in a bowl if you wanted to, or a shallow dish, but I think it's easier to squeeze all the air out of this bag, and it's going to make sure all those flavors in that marinade get all over the meat. Just want to move it around a little bit, make sure everything's covered, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours. We just want the flavors in those juices to start tenderizing that meat, to let that seasoning work its way into it, and then we just got to grill it up. It's as easy as that. So to cook this skirt steak today, I'm firing up my Weber 22-inch kettle grill. I've just got a simple charcoal chimney, putting some all-natural Royal Oak briquettes in it. I've got a couple tumbleweed fire starters that I'm going to light, set that chimney right on top of it. It'll take about 20 minutes for those coals to get good and hot. Then we're going to spread them out in the bottom of the Weber kettle. I'm going to open the vents on bottom 100%, on top 100%, and then put the grate in place. Just let that Weber kettle heat up. We want it about 500, 550 degrees because we're going to sear this skirt steak really hot, really fast. So just put the lid on the Weber and give it another 15 minutes to heat up. Let that grate get good and hot. So I've got the Weber heating up. It's time to pull this skirt steak out of the marinade. I'm just going to grab it with some tongs. Let as much drain off as possible. It don't matter if it still has some moisture to it. And you can see that skirt steak has really absorbed that marinade. We've got some pieces of the garlic, the jalapeno on it, but it's really taken on a different color. The flavors on the inside of it soak good, and it's tendered up a little because those juices really work on the meat protein. Now the only seasoning that I'm going to put on it now is a little extra kosher salt, because beef loves salt. It needs it. I'm just going to pinch a little on top, flip it over, do the same thing, and we're just going to let it hang out here on the cutting board while the grill gets ready. All right, after just a few minutes, you can see the Weber's jumped up to about 525. It's perfect. I want to go ahead and oil the grate a little bit. So I've just got some paper towel, some tongs, and some canola oil. I'm just going to put a little oil on the paper towel. It's going to keep the steak from sticking to the grate as much. Just make sure it's clean. So this part's easy. We've got good hot coals. The meat's setting out. It's up to room temp. We're just going to throw it right over the coals. And skirt steak's thin, it's gonna cook fast, so I just wanna time it for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. That's all it's gonna take. Don't go too far, you wanna stay with it. We want it to get cooked to that rare to mid-rare doneness. So I'm gonna get a timer going, and then we'll flip the steak in just a few minutes. So it's been about 2 minutes. I'm just gonna peek at it. We got some good color going. We'll go ahead and turn it a little bit. All right, you can hear that timer. That means it's time to flip this skirt steak. And check it out, I've got some beautiful color going on the downside. Now let's flip it over, do the same thing. We're gonna keep that timer going about another 4 or 5 minutes. And I didn't put the lid on the Weber. These coals are hot. We're cooking a thin piece of meat, and I wanted to keep an eye on it. So I'm just standing here with it, lid off to the side, and watching it. I wanna see some of this char on the outside. I wanna know that we're getting that good brown grill action on the surface of the skirt steak. That's all flavor. It smells so, you know, I love when you got those beef juices dripping right on those hot coals. Man, that's just, oh, it smells so good. So it's been about 2.5 minutes. You want to move it again, getting the browning action going on that side. Let's just throw it right back on the hot coals this way. We're almost done. I'm just kind of going by feel. It's still soft. We've got a nice little crust going on the outside. I know it's tender. About 2 more minutes, we'll be ready. So I've got about a minute left on the skirt steak. Still feels a little soft. I'm just gonna keep letting it hang out, but I'm also move it over just a little bit. I'm gonna get my cast iron pan going because I'm gonna cook these vegetables right here beside this steak. I'm gonna put a little canola oil on the cast iron. I'm gonna get my vegetables down. I've got bell pepper, red and green, some onion, even threw a few garlic cloves in there just because I like garlic, and a whole jalapeno I've sliced up. We're just gonna kind of saute these vegetables right here on the cast iron while the steak finishes up. And I'm gonna season those vegetables with a little bit of that same Grande Gringo seasoning. You could use salt and pepper or whatever you like, really. Just wanna give them a little flavor. Skirt steak is almost there. It's almost 10 minutes on the grill. Stir our vegetables up a little bit. The cast iron will heat up. They'll be sizzling. So it's been about 11 total minutes. And the skirt steak's where I want it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it off. I mean, it's got beautiful color, both sides. Got some char action going. Should still be good and rare, the medium rare on the inside just by feeling it. Not worried about sticking it with the thermopin. It's so thin, it'd be hard to get an accurate reading anyway. We're gonna let it rest. Needs about 7 minutes while these vegetables finish up here on the grill. Our vegetables, after about 7 minutes, almost where I want them. I don't want them mushy. I still want them to have some texture. You want them to soften up. Pick up some of that flavor from the cast iron, kind of char them just a little bit. They smell fantastic. A couple more minutes and we'll be done here. So our onions and peppers look fantastic. I mean, you can't beat that smell. Going right over to the cutting board with these. We got the peppers and onions sitting here sizzling. It's time to show you how we're gonna serve this delicious meal. Now we've got our skirt steak on the board, and it's easy to cut one up because you can tell how the grain runs on this steak. The first cut is just gonna be to portion it. So I'm just gonna say this is thirds. Now what we'll do, the grain is running this way, so we wanna cut across it, and you just wanna cut it into thin strips. And the knife just slides right through it. Perfect doneness, medium rare. I mean, that is beautiful right there. Beautiful steak. I'm just gonna cut it all up, thin strips. Same thing, we're just doing thin strips, across the grain, and I can't take it no more. I've got to get a bite of this. I mean, it's almost falling apart. That skirt steak has a lot of intermuscular fat in it. That's where your tenderness is. Gives it a ton of flavor. Wow. All the flavor from the marinade, the grill, super soft. That's an awesome steak right there. That's gonna be some really, really good tacos tonight for dinner. So now I'm just gonna take our steak, serve it right on top of our vegetables here. Take our tongs, right on top. Let's get all those good flavors from the beef on top of the vegetables. The iron skillet's still hot, and that's what I call skirt steak carne asada. Now this is exactly how I'm gonna serve it up tonight. I'm gonna get me one more bite of this steak before I take it inside, because this is gonna be our dinner. I had to cheat, that's so good. So I'm gonna pair this with some cilantro lime rice, maybe a can of black beans, and we're gonna serve it up family style. Make some tacos with it. You can use your favorite corn or flour shells, little pico, some guac, maybe some finely chopped cilantro over the top. That's all you need. You've got a quick and easy dinner right there on the grill. Takes about 2 hours to marinate that skirt steak, but the total cook time is less than 20 minutes. Thanks for checking us out today here at How to Barbecue Right. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to our channel. We're gonna be putting out more delicious recipes like this all year long. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Shell and I will talk about this recipe and all the other delicious stuff that we do on our podcast every Friday. Y'all check that out too. We'll see y'all next time. Man, the peppers, I don't know what y'all gonna have, Shell. I think I could do this whole thing tonight. This quarantine's kicking my butt.